morning, students. Under Cost and Management Accounting, second unit 2, we are discussing about secondary distribution of overheads. Under secondary distribution of overheads, already we have seen 8 sessions. In that we have discussed both the theory aspects as well as problems on secondary distribution of overheads. Again, we have solved problems under direct distribution method, then step ladder method, and in the last class we have worked out problems on simultaneous equation method. Now let us see the problem number 3 under simultaneous equation method. The problem is Bharat Manufacturing Company has 4 production departments, 1, 2, 3, and 2 service departments, namely transport and power supply department. The particulars of expenses of respective departments are as follows. Particulars here: production departments 1, 2, 3, 4. Service departments are that is transport and power supply. Total overhead as per primary distribution. So here also primary distribution table has been prepared and we have given the total overheads. Department 1, production department 1, 1000, production department 2, 900, production department 3, 800, production department 4, 700, then service department, transport 3, 550, and power supply 380. The company decided to apportion the service department's costs on the following percentage. Transport, here percentage of apportionment of service departments overheads among production departments on simultaneous equation basis is given. Say one is transport department, another one is power supply department. Here we have production department and again service department, that is a transport and a power supply. So transport department serves 10%, gives 10% of its total overhead service, 10% of its total service to 1, then 30% to department 2, 20% to production department 3, 20% to production department 4, and transport to transport service nil, transport to power supply 20%. So it gives 20% of its total service to power supply department. Then power supply department gives 30% of service to 1, 20% of service to 2, 30% of service to 3, 10% of service to 4, 10% of service to transport department and power supply to 3. Find out the total overheads of production departments under simultaneous equation method. So we have to we know that under simultaneous equation method the departments are mutually serving departments, that is production service departments. The service department here transport provides service to power supply department serves to transport. So once we have to add the service received from other department and we have to deduct the service given to other department. So also power supply department has to add the service received from other department and service given to transport department has to be deducted. So here transport department provides 20% of its service to power supply and it takes 10% of service, 10% service from power supply, and power supply department here gives 10% of its service to transport and it receives 20% of service from transport. So under simultaneous equation method we will use form the equation first. For that purpose we assume that here X denote the total overheads of service department transport and Y denote the total overhead service of power supply. So X service X total overhead is nothing but it has 550. So 550 plus 10% of Y, because it receives 10% from Y. So since transport service department receives 10% of our department service, then Y department, next department, Y is equal to 380, its total overhead, plus 20% of X, it receives 20% of service from me. Here X means here transport, since Y service department receives 20% of X department's service. Here X means here transport, power supply, transport department service. So we have to form the equation. Therefore, X is equal to 550 plus 10% of Y. It is equation 1. Then Y is equal to 380 plus 20% of X, equation 2. So solving this equation, X is equal to 550 plus 10% Y. We have to substitute the value of Y here. 380 plus 20% of X. 20% can be written like this, 0.2X. So X is equal to 550 plus 38. 10, we have to divide it. 38 plus 0.02. 0.02X, the answer here. Now X is equal to, we have to bring this 0.2X and X, they are similar category, so they should be brought here. So X minus, so this plus becomes minus 0.02X is equal to 588. So here X means here 1 minus 0.02X is equal to 0.98X is equal to 588. So X is equal to 588 divided by 0.98. So X is equal to 590. So 590, here it is taken as 600. 590. So wherein X is 600, make it 600, nearly 600. So taking second equation, Y is equal to 380 plus 20% of X. X is 600. X is equal to 600. So 380 plus 20% of 600. So 380 plus 20% of 600 is nothing but 120. It is 120 is equal to 500. So we got the values of X and Y, but we have not added the service received from other department. Only plus we have made plus, or we have added the services received from other department, but we have not deducted the service given to other department. So for that, this calculation is necessary. Calculation of actual overhead of service department transport chargeable to production department. The total overhead of service department transport as per the calculation 600. So less service given to department P, it gives 20% of its service. So 20% of 600 is nothing but 120. So 600 plus 120, 600 minus 120 is equal to 480. This is the reason 480. So the total overhead of department transport to be apportioned to the production department is 480. Then calculation of actual overhead of service department P. P means here power chargeable to production departments. See, total overhead of service department P as per the calculation is 500. We got here 500. Then less service given to the other department. Service given to department. Here department power supply. Here, department P, power supply. That is 10% of 500. So it is 50. So the total overhead of product service department, that is power supply department, to be apportioned among product department is 450. Now preparing the secondary distribution summary, item of expense, basis of apportionment, total overhead, production department. So first of all, we have to take the total overheads, actual overhead given in the problem. See, 1 is 1000, 2 is 900, 3 800, and 4 is 700, totally 3400. Now, the service department transports service department. Here, the rate or percentage of service given to the production department is given 1 is to 3 is to 2 is to 2. So 1 is to 3 is to 2 is to 2. Total is 480. 480 when it is divided among the production departments under this ratio, it is 60 to 1, 180 to 2, 120 to 3, 120 to 4 department. Then service department P, total is 2000. This is wrong. It is not 4000. 1 is 450, 480. Another one is 450. 450. So 450 divided among production departments in the ratio. The ratio is given or percentage is given 3 is to 2 is to 3 is to 1. So 150, 100, 150, 50. So now the grand total is 4330, then 1210, 1180, then 1070, then 870. So this is how secondary distribution is made under simultaneous equation method. So under simultaneous equation method, first of all, we have to calculate the total overhead of each service department. That is also with the help of this equation. Only here, in the first step, we are adding the services received by one service department from other. After calculating its total overhead cost, then we deduct the services given to other department, so that we will get the overhead of that particular service department chargeable to production departments. That's all.